and Trinket came galloping along, and my brother, like, okay, what does she want? We were going that way. All you must be the channel animals, right? Channel mammals. Well, I hope I look okay, but I'm really glad to see you all. Well, you know what I thought would be fun to do today is to, every once in a while on our YouTube channel, to show you a little bit about our living quarters here. So let's see, why don't we just start and just roll around this cabin. This is Richard's and my sleeping quarters. It's called a master stateroom. Sounds very fancy, but as you can see, it's not very fancy. This is my favorite thing in the whole room. These lamps. See, it's some kind of a floating device. See how that works? For inside the ships. Aren't they great? I can lift them, but see, I can barely. I'm lifting it on one side. We cut off the big long poles and wired them up. We didn't even know we were going to use them for lamps. And these shades, Richard and I designed. They're easier to see with the lights out in a way, and then on again. This chalk drawing of our daughter, Heather, looks kind of like these. You can't see it in this light because it's so dim today, but it's pinks and ribbons of blue and rose and yellows and rust, and it has much of a chalky feeling to it. But isn't that amazing? I just thought you'd enjoy seeing them. I just love them. Now we're going to talk about the next thing. This little object was made by Richard for me for a present. It has little feet, little shell feet, and this is my favorite part. Do you see this special shell right here? Do you know what kind of shell that is? Have you ever seen a shell with holes like that? Almost perfectly round holes? Well, when we moved to Madison, Indiana, this little river rat town down on the Ohio River, on the edge of Kentucky. I think I've mentioned it before. It's called Kentuckiana. And everybody is just so homely and wonderful there. And my big brother, Bruce, and I were running along the sand of the Ohio River with our dog Trinka, and throwing sticks and just running and tumbling, just having the best time, just like Huck Finn and Tom Sawyer. And all of a sudden, I stumbled on something, and I brought up my foot, and what do you think it was? It was one of these. And I picked it off my foot, and I thought, whoa, I've never seen such an animal. And then I started digging around, and I found thousands of these. Everywhere I looked, there were these. I said, Bruce, come on back! Hurry! I have something to show you! And Trinket came galloping along, and my brother, like, okay, what does she want? We were going that way, and now I have to go back. So he came back, and I said, look at these shells. These are amazing. So I told, we were taking them back with us to show our parents and our brothers and sisters. And on our way, climbing up the banks, we saw a man sitting on a log, smoking a corncob pipe. That's what it was like back then. And he had on a felt federo. Is that what they call it? Fedora. A felt fedora. and an old suit jacket, double-breasted, brown. And he was just puffing away, looking out at the river, because the river boats would go along. And the Delta Queen would play the calliope when it came along and everything. So he was just sitting there alone in the sultry late afternoon, puffing away. And he said to us, "You know what them bar shells are?" And I said, "No, I've never seen anything like it. Do you know?" And he said, "Well, yeah." He said, "Back here behind me, there used to be a button factory. And they used to dredge the river, get the shells up out of the river, haul them on up to the button factory, and punch out the buttons." And I said, "Oh my word, that is unbelievable. Mother of pearl buttons made right there on the shore of the Ohio River." I just couldn't believe it. So I collected a lot of them. And so when Richard made this object for me, there it was as the knob. Isn't that precious? So anyway, look, he had to tell me that I could open it. Look at this. And look at inside. Isn't that beautiful? It's a painting of an old ship from an old Christmas card from Victorian times. And guess what? He gave me for a present inside this beautiful box. He knows that my favorite thing in the whole world are pulley systems. So look what he found. Beautiful pulleys, steel pulleys. Isn't that amazing? And look at even the inside of the box is beautifully lined. These are the pulleys. Aren't they great? And so I was saying, "Oh, Richard, thank you so much." And I was hugging him and thanking him. And he said, wait, there's something more. And I said, "What more could there be?" And he said, "Open the box." And I said, "But I did." And he said, "Open it. Look carefully." And I couldn't see. Look, there's no other lid, right? But guess what? There's another layer to the box. And look, there's another beautiful little lining to it. Isn't that beautiful? And look, another beautiful pulley. Isn't that great? Isn't that beautiful? All cast iron. And he said the hardest part about this gift, believe it or not, was finding pulleys that would fit in this box. He said that was the only thing that was hard for him. And he found, and look, it fits perfectly. Isn't that beautiful? I'm having so much fun sharing this with you because nobody ever comes into our boudoir. It's just you from all over the world, and I don't even know you, but it's really fun. Okay, this is fun to see. I forgot, I never use these, as you can see. These are beautiful napkins. Made of rice paper, actually. That are made by Richard and me. All different designs. Aren't they pretty? Look at them, look at this. I want to see, I think all of them, I love all of them. But this one's kind of pretty. And you can actually use them. Isn't that great? They were really fun to do. Okay, so now shall we sit down? Okay, so I know this is going to sound funny, but Richard's and my natural talent is to make things, either make things beautiful or make things out of things that we find, or any kind of ways of using our hands. And so here we are in this old boat, and it's natural to have the fun of making things, just like these first lamps that I showed you. So we have lots of things to share, and people would think, oh, why would they want to sell their things? But I don't mind. Everything we could sell if people like it. It sounds like, oh, why would we sell all these things that are so precious? Well, I think that everybody when they love something, they love it because it's an expression of them. And so when people buy things, they're actually finding something, just like we might find a shell with holes in it. And they love it so much that they understand it, and they say, this is part of my story. This is my poem. It's like a little phrase or a word in a poem. And we all have poems to write and stories to tell. And I think that if these beautiful things from Yankee Ferry and from our part of the history of Yankee Ferry is much more important than our story. Think of the stories she tells. Oh my goodness, you wouldn't imagine. And then we're just one sliver of that. Well, it's part of Yankee's story. So it's a gift from Yankee Ferry and from Victoria and Richard MacKenzie-Childs. And I just think that I can imagine myself sometimes rattling around in an empty vessel. Wouldn't that be amazing? I would love it, because I would start all over again, finding things, dragging in driftwood from off the island over there, all those beautiful shards we find on the beaches, and oh my goodness, the things we could do. Well, it'll just free us to do more things, and it'll also help us to pay the dockage fees. Actually, I can just walk through the boat right now. Ahoy! And that's Lithuanian for goodbye or hello.